Hi there, my name is John Stevens, pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we're part of the ELCA, and welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where we take a look at the lectionary text tying to an item from the Dollar Tree. This is for the narrative lectionary, and we're continuing the Hebrew series. We're in chapter 2, 10 to 18, and really looking at, in that text, it talks about, that Jesus is the visible, is the visible of the invisible, that we see Jesus. But along with that, there's this idea that Jesus knows what we go through, that in Jesus, God experiences human life and the pain and the suffering. It's theology of the cross, that in that Christ sits with us in our hurt and in our pain. So, I'm looking the direction, and the direction I'm going is that there are things that we have done, things that we have learned that the kids might either be learning to do, or that we've experienced things that they've experienced. And the item I'm looking at is a pair of shoelaces, talking about learning to tie shoes. And I have a magic trick that I'm going to do with this, but it's this idea that when it came time for Peter to learn how to tie shoes, that's my son who's now 16, I was able to show him and teach him how to tie the shoes because I had been taught how to tie a shoe. And so I knew what it was like to tie a shoe. I knew how to tie a shoe. I'd gone through tying a shoe, and so I could show Peter how to tie a shoe. When it came time for me to learn how to tie a bow tie, I was able to tie a bow tie because it's really tying a shoe all around, shoelace around your neck in the shape of a tie. And so I was able to do that and show Peter how to do that. But that's the direction I'm going, that I knew how to do this because I had gone through it. It had been an experience that I had had. And Hebrews reminds us that Jesus is the visible of the invisible God, that we, through Jesus, we see God Almighty, and through Jesus, God experiences the things that we've gone through, so that when we lift up our prayers and our pain and our lament to God, we know that God can understand. It might be, I have on my hand here, I have a scar. It's hard to see. It's right there. And it's a scar from when I fell on a piece of glass in the middle of the mountain. And so when someone falls and they scrape their hands, I can talk about it. I know what that feels like. And we talk about, sometimes in high school Bible study, we talk about scar stories. That when you get a group of people start talking about scar stories, what happened, people relate because they go, oh yeah, that hurt. I had that happen to me. And now this is not stuff for really the children's sermon, but it's an example of why it's important to talk about experiences. And I'm thinking about when Thomas says, unless I see and I put my fingers in the marks of the nails and the scars and the wounds. Those are things that let us know that the person we are talking to, the God that we're relating to, knows what it's like to have a tear when Jesus cries over the death of Lazarus. We know that Jesus feels pain and feels hurt, and his heart was broken. So those are directions I'm going. I'm using a shoelace to talk about tying and about how that's how I learned. And maybe ask the kids, what is something that you were taught how to do? I always like there's the meme out there that says, when don't make fun of your grandparents or your parents for having a hard time using a smartphone or a computer, because at one time they taught you how to use a spoon. And for some reason my iPad just shut off there, and I think it was telling me that I had rambled enough. So I hope you have a fantastic week. thanks for stopping by, and I hope this can be a springboard for your own children's sermon. All right, thanks.